I used to believe teasing was harmless, just a light-hearted way to keep things fun when life started feeling too heavy. But looking back now, I realize it wasn't teasing at all. It was testing. I was nudging fragile boundaries I didn't even recognize until the day I crossed one. That's when I learned how quickly love begins to crumble the moment respect quietly slips away. Ryan, my husband, was never the jealous kind. He carried himself with a quiet confidence, calm, grounded, and sure of who he was. That steady composure was what drew me to him in the first place. After years of being tangled in chaotic relationships with men who thrived on drama, Ryan felt like peace, a safe harbor after too many storms. Then there was Ethan, my best friend from college. We'd always been close, the kind of friends who could finish each other's sentences and text about anything or nothing at all. Ryan knew about him from the beginning. I introduced him early on because, in my mind, I had nothing to hide. For a while, everything really was fine. The three of us would hang out sometimes, and although Ryan was polite and easygoing, he always seemed a bit quieter when Ethan was around. I assumed that was just his nature. But over time, subtle changes began to appear. Ryan's jaw would tighten when Ethan's name lit my phone. His voice would pause before he asked, "Everything okay?" Instead of noticing his discomfort, I turned it into a joke. "What, are you jealous?" I'd tease, laughing. "You've got nothing to worry about." He would smile, but it never reached his eyes. And I kept pushing. Little careless remarks like, "He's funnier than you," or "At least Ethan listens when I talk." I told myself it was all harmless fun, never realizing each joke was another small fracture in something precious. Eventually, Ryan stopped laughing. He just gnawed, change the subject, and retreat into silence. One Friday evening, Ethan texted asking if I wanted to grab dinner after work. Without thinking, I said yes and sent Ryan a quick message saying I'd be home late. His reply was short. "Okay." No questions, no hesitation. That should have told me everything. When I got home, Ryan was sitting at the kitchen table, a half-empty glass of bourbon beside him. The light hit his face in a way that made him look older, distant. "How was dinner?" he asked evenly. "Good," I said. "You didn't wait up?" "I did," he replied softly. "I wanted to talk." I leaned against the counter, trying to read him. "Okay, about what?" He took a slow breath. "I think I've been patient," he said. "I've tried to give you space, to let you have your friends. But tonight I realized something. Respect isn't about space. It's about how you treat what's inside of it." I frowned, confused. "Ryan, what are you talking about?" "It was just dinner with Ethan. We're friends." "I know," he said quietly. "You've said that 1,000 times." His tone was calm, too calm, and that scared me more than if he'd yelled. He stood and walked toward the hallway. "I'm not angry, Claire," he said. "I'm just tired of proving I'm not the bad guy every time you want attention from someone else." My chest tightened. "You're overreacting." He turned, eyes weary but firm. "Am I? Because every time you joke about me being jealous, what you're really saying is that you like that he seems to care more than I do." I didn't know how to respond. The air between us felt thick, like smoke after fire. He picked up his jacket and wallet. "I'm going to stay at my brother's for a few days," he said quietly. "Maybe we both need some space." I tried to laugh it off like always. "Come on, you're not serious." He paused at the door, looked back once, and said something I'll never forget. "Maybe I should have been jealous. Maybe then you'd have known I still mattered." Then he left. I stood there for what felt like hours, listening to the soft click of the door closing. The sound didn't bring peace this time, only the echo of everything I had just lost. The house felt emptier than before. No yelling, no slammed doors, just quiet. The kind of quiet that hurts. That night, I went to bed half expecting him to call or text. He didn't. The next morning, still nothing. By the third day, I knew he wasn't coming back anytime soon. Ethan noticed my mood immediately. He called during lunch, his voice careful. "You okay? You sound off." I hesitated, then lied. "Yeah, just tired. Work's been rough." I couldn't bring myself to admit that my marriage was unraveling, that my so-called jokes had driven Ryan into silence. Saying it out loud would make it real. That weekend, I went to see him. His brother Mark answered the door, looking surprised. "He's out back," he said, stepping aside. Ryan was sitting on the porch steps, a mug of coffee in his hands. He looked calm, too calm. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. The air between us felt fragile, like a bridge cracked down the middle. "Hey," I said softly. "Hey," he replied. I sat beside him, close, but not quite touching. I didn't mean for it to get this bad. "I know you didn't," he said gently. "But good intentions don't erase what happened. That hit harder than anger ever could. Anger means there's still fire. What he had now was ash. I thought it was just teasing. I whispered. I didn't realize it hurt you." He looked at me, eyes tired. "You made me the punchline in my own marriage. Do you know what that feels like? Laughing along so I don't look insecure, because the moment I show it bothers me, I become the jealous husband." I stared down at my hands, twisting my wedding ring. I was stupid. He shook his head. "No, you were careless. That's different." The truth hung between us, heavy and alive. I wanted to reach out to touch his hand, but I wasn't sure I still had the right. "I haven't talked to Ethan since you left," I said quietly. "I know," Ryan nodded, "but that's not the point." "Then what is—" My voice cracked. He turned to me, steady and calm. "It's about what you chose to protect. Every time you made a joke at my expense, it wasn't Ethan that hurt me. It was realizing you defended him more than you defended us." My throat tightened, the kind of pain that comes when understanding finally catches up. "Too late. I want to fix this," I whispered. He looked out toward the yard where autumn leaves drifted down. "Then start by understanding it. Don't say sorry just to make it go away. Figure out why you needed to make me feel small, just to feel seen." We sat there for a long time. Two people who had once loved each other easily, now sitting in the quiet remains of pride disguised as humor. When I left, I didn't cry. I just drove home in silence, feeling the weight of every careless laugh I brushed off as just a joke. I finally understood that love doesn't vanish all at once. It wears down slowly, one thoughtless remark, one unkind laugh at a time. Weeks passed. Ryan and I exchanged polite messages. Nothing deep, just gentle distance. I told him I'd started therapy, that I was learning how to speak without hiding behind sarcasm. He replied, "That's good. I'm glad." A month later, he came by to pick up a few things. We talked again, softer this time. He said he wasn't sure what the future held, but wasn't closing the door completely. I didn't beg him to stay. I just thanked him for being honest. That night, I scrolled through old photos. One from our honeymoon stopped me, the one where I was laughing, and he was looking at me with that quiet, patient smile. And suddenly I saw it clearly. He wasn't unfeeling. He wasn't jealous. He was trusting. I had mistaken his calm for indifference, his steadiness for weakness. He didn't stop loving me because of the jokes. He stopped believing I respected him enough not to make them. Now, whenever someone says, "It was just a joke," I remember that night, the sound of the door closing, the silence that followed. Because sometimes the joke isn't funny. Sometimes it's the last thing you say before someone stops laughing with you forever.